is a chapter from Europe's past that tells a very different story, one that's been largely forgotten. 1400 years ago, Muslims came westwards from Arabia and the Middle East, and over the next 800 years they set down roots here in Spain. What happened during that time would have a profound effect on the course of European civilization and history.
And created a society so rich and so powerful, it was the envy of the known world. This wasn't the rigid, ferocious Islam of our imaginations, but a progressive, sensuous, intellectually curious culture that for a number of spine-tingling years looked set to sweep through the whole of Europe. It is an incredible story, but one that has been systematically written out of history.
France's Muslims are here to stay and simply request to be treated as equals.
I am a Muslim. I respect other faiths. My religion forbids me to impose my beliefs on others, but neither do I want to practice my faith hiding in a cave or underground like a worm. I want to practice in the daylight.
We're from here in this area, inshallah. We hope that you enjoy and you get your point across. We're saying no to the EDL. Also to people from our own communities who are going and inciting people. Do you understand? We're gonna show our faces today because we're proud, right? And remember, we don't want our mothers, our sisters, or anybody getting attacked, right? Assalamu alaikum. All right, go. We've got black, white, Asian, Muslim, non-Muslim, everybody is here. That's how the community should be, a peaceful community. EDL and likes of Al-Muhajirun are divisive. We need to marginalize them. We need to actually expose the truth.
Smash the attempt of extremists outside. The message from Barking to the BNP is clear. Get out and stay out.
Heroes come in all shapes, sizes, colors, and religions. This man might be the most famous person in the world. He's one of the greatest heroes of our time, and he is a Muslim. It was hate, not religion, that motivated the horrible acts of September 11th. And in the wake of these events, nothing could be more un-American than to respond to mindless hatred with blind vengeance. My friend and I want you to remember that.
Well, France is suffering a wave of hate attacks against Muslims in the wake of last week's Islamic extremist attacks in and around Paris. Monitors of Islamophobia are reporting scores of incidents. In fact, since Wednesday, there have been over 20 shootings at Islamic buildings. Even grenades have been thrown as well. On top of that, there have been over 30 threats made. In fact, overall, 54 anti-Muslim incidents now in less than the course of a week. Now, anti-Islamic sentiment is growing in Germany as well. Last night, 25,000 rallied in Dresden.
In summer 2013, in the UK context, following the slaying of the British soldier in London, there was a massive spike in anti-Muslim violence.
Islamophobia and racism are no new phenomena in Europe. And indeed, they're an internal problem, nothing that has been brought to us from the outside. It is a problem that we have to deal with inside the European Union.
Women wearing hijabs are most vulnerable to public Islamophobic attacks in Australia, while only 1 in 4 bystanders speaks out on behalf of victims.
Do we have a problem with Islamophobia in this country? Yes, we do.
The Independence Day march through Warsaw was the biggest staged so far by right-wing extremists. State television estimated more than 100,000 protesters took part. It was a show of strength that attracted neo-Nazi groups and white supremacists from countries right across Europe.
The views of the extreme right are now entering the political mainstream in Poland, and the number of xenophobic attacks, particularly against the Muslim community, is steeply on the rise.
Anti-Muslim hate crimes and other forms of bigotry are on the rise. And the same applies to xenophobia, racism and anti-Semitism. In addition, many people are victims of intolerance and suspicions that may not appear in statistics, but degrade people's dignity and our common humanity. Tolerance and mutual understanding that are at the heart of all major faiths and the United Nations Charter.
A worrying trend is sweeping across parts of Europe. A rise in xenophobic hate crime being reported in places like Britain and Germany. In Hungary, cases spiked in the run-up to the country's vote on whether to accept EU migrant quotas, as a government campaign warned that migrants bring terrorism, and Hungary's Prime Minister said he didn't want more Muslims in the country. The tiny Muslim minority say it's been a tough 12 months.
This is the spot where an Iraqi national was murdered 2 weeks ago, the heartland of the Athenian Muslim community.
Gangs of motorcycle-riding fascists frequently terrorize people here, defacing mosques with unspeakable slogans, bullying soap owners and physically browbeating some of the thousands of Muslims in the area.
But for those in leadership like Mr. Trump and Mr. Giuliani and other members of other institutions that project Islam and Muslims as the enemy, this is the end result of their wickedness.
You need not be a Muslim. You need not be a person of any faith. You just need to be a person of conscience. Imagine your father guns down for no reason, and then let that feeling, let that motivate you to come out of your silence. And I especially say this to those of influence within the community and beyond. Every single one of us has a responsibility.
Communities that look different become convenient scapegoats. And we must resist cynical efforts to divide communities and portray neighbors as the other. Discrimination diminishes us all. It prevents people and societies from achieving their full potential. Let us draw strength from the values of inclusion.
A police manhunt is underway in Sweden after a mosque was attacked for the third time in a week. It happened earlier New Year's morning in Uppsala, one of the country's biggest cities. The mosque was firebombed and graffiti sprayed on its walls. Other incidents saw 5 people injured on Christmas Day when a petrol bomb was thrown through the window of a mosque in another city.
Hundreds of American Muslims as well as members of interfaith organizations have staged a rally in Washington, D.C. in condemnation of terrorist attacks attributed to Muslims as well as rising Islamophobia in the United States.
Muslims come in and report when they see something going on. When they see hatred going on, they have to report it. As an example, it's
to combat extremism, terrorism, and violence.
And that was President Trump in May, a rational, sane speech read from a teleprompter, and quite a different message from this morning when President Trump went on Twitter and retweeted anti-Muslim videos from a far-right group in Europe to his 43 million-plus Twitter followers. The original tweets come from this woman, the deputy leader of the extreme right political group Britain First in the UK. Just last year, she was convicted of, quote, religiously aggravated harassment for verbally abusing a Muslim woman on the street. Now, when the leader of the free world promotes the views of such a character,
we would be coming together to address these issues, to better know our neighbors. But instead, we are inciting this hate. We are fueling the hate to continue to cause this kind of damage. And before long, Mr. Trump, you are going to have blood on your hands, and it's all going to be because of what you say.
A place of worship, now a murder scene. Residents of Queens in New York gathered at the mosque where just hours earlier an imam and his assistant were shot dead. Members of the American Muslim community are calling for a hate crime investigation, with some blaming prominent politicians for stoking Islamophobia.
Madam Speaker, Islamophobia is a heavy word in today's discourse, but it is heaviest for those who are on the receiving end of it. In a country I call my own, my identity is challenged and my actions are heavily scrutinized. I am simultaneously silenced into shame while being expected to apologize for the actions of a small group of people that do not represent me as a Muslim woman of color, in a time of overwhelming stigma, I fear being othered, profiled, and killed unless cherished as complex and as rich as its people. This is my Canada, and there is no seat for hate here. My heritage is not a political platform to campaign on. We are all shaken from acts of terrorism, but they affect our communities most because they divide us from within as well as from other Canadians. Whether we have been contributing for generations or whether we're new immigrants seeking refuge or opportunities, we are Canadians. We all have a responsibility to challenge a growing culture of ignorance rather than justifying xenophobia and prejudice under the veil of free speech.
Here is what it's all about. The key part of Khalid's motion calls on the government to, quote, condemn Islamophobia and all forms of systemic racism and religious discrimination, and have the Heritage Committee develop an approach to stopping it.
We're not just defending the Muslims because it's the right thing to do. We have an interest in this. A long time ago, a Christian clergyman, Pastor Naimullah, said this: they came for the communists, but I was not a communist, so I did not protest. They came for the trade unionists, I was not a trade unionist, so I did not protest. Then they came for the Jews, I was not a Jew, and I did not protest. Then they came for me, and there was nobody left to protest. That's another reason why we're standing beside.
Don't show your tears.
You know, I think I'm going to realise how much what hatred really is now, because as soon as I read some of the comments, well, choosing to cover my hair just for modesty reasons and understanding that women are happy in Islam.
Being a Muslim is just a principle, it's a value that you keep with you, it's a faith.
Islam has been part of Britain for hundreds of years, you know, and contact with Muslims started, you know, under Queen Elizabeth's reign. So I don't think there's anything to prevent Muslims living in Britain.
Being British is to be, I guess, to be open-minded and tolerant.
People are angry, but they can't explain why.
Hello, sir, and why are you here today?
I'm here to protest. Right, I'm going on a march. I want Britain to be back British. I want Britain to be back British. I'm going on a march. I want Britain to be back British. I want Britain to be back British. Got interracial law and the Islamic infidel. They're trying to get their law over our country, and it is happening. It's happening in other countries. It's happening in every country. Like you got Muslim rape camps, Muslim rape camps. You got Muslim rape camps, rape camps. You got Muslim rape camps, Muslim rape camps. You got Muslim rape camps, rape camps.
Thanks very much.
People are angry, but they can't explain why.
Hello, sir, and why are you here today?
I'm here to protest. Right, I'm going on a march. I want Britain to be back British. I want Britain to be back British. I'm going on a march. I want Britain to be back British. about British. Got interracial law and the Islamic infidel. They're trying to get their law over our country, and it's happening. It's happening in other countries. It's happening in every country's life.
Britain has the people who are always polite. You hit us, then you ask us if it did hurt much. We just smile and say yes, quite. But when it comes to war, Britain never leaves our side. We are suckers.
somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride. If I have faith, you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. If there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, I'm right up the road. I'll share your load if you just call me. Sometimes in our lives we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride. If I have faith, you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show.
Pack it up, pack it in, let me begin. I came to win, battle me, that's a sin. I won't ever slack up, punk, you better back up. Try and play the role and you're the whole crew will act up. Get up, stand up, come on, throw your hands up if you got the feeling. Jump up, press the ceiling, monsters of funk flow. Someone's fucking junk, yo, I'll bust them in the eye. And then I'll take the punks out, feeling funky. Amps in a trunk and I got more rhymes than this cops at a Dunkin' Donut shop. Sure enough, I got props from the kids on the hill with my mom and my pops. I came to get down, I came to get down. So get out your seat and jump around, jump around. play me up like as if my name was Sega. But I ain't going out like no punk, bitch. Get used to one style, yo, when I might switch it up and around. Then buck, get down, put out your head and then you wake up in the dawn of the dead. I'm coming to get ya, I'm coming to get ya. Spitting out lyrics, homie, I with ya. I came to get down, I came to get down. So get out your seat and jump around, jump around, jump around, jump around. Jump up and get down. Jump, 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 everybody jump, 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 everybody jump, 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 everybody jump, 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 everybody jump, jump, yeah. This is dedicated to Joe, the fire, get colder, grab your bows out. Pack it up, pack it in, let me begin. I came to win, battle me, that's a sin. I won't ever slack up, punk, you better back up. Try and play the role and you're the whole crew will act up. Get up, stand up, come on, throw your hands up if you got the feeling. Jump up, touch the ceiling, monks, let's up, funk, someone's fucking junk, yeah, I'll bust them in the eye. And then I'll take the punks out, feeling funky. Amps in a trunk and I got more rhymes than this cops at a junkie. Donut shop, sure enough, I got props from the kids on the hill with my mom and my pops. I came to get down, I came to get down. So get out your seat and jump around, jump around, jump around, jump around, jump up and get down. Jump, 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 everybody jump, 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 everybody jump, 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 jump. I'll serve your ass like John McEnroe. If your girl steps up, I'm smacking the hoe. Word to your moms, I came to drop bombs. I got more rhymes than the Bible's got songs. And just like the prodigal son, I've returned. Anyone stepping on me, you'll get burned. Cause I got lyrics, but you ain't got none. If you come to battle, bring a shotgun. But if you do, you're a fool, cause I do to the death. Trying to step to me, you take your last breath. I got the skill, come get your fill. Cause when I shoot the gift, I shoot the kill. I came to get down, I came to get down. So get out your seat and jump around, jump around, jump around, jump around. Jump up and get down. Jump, 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 everybody jump, 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 everybody jump, 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 I'm the cream of the crop, I rise to the top. I never eat a pig cause a pig is a cop. Or better yet, a Terminator, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Trying to play me up like as if my name was Sega. But I ain't going out like no punk, bitch. Get used to one style, yo, when I might switch it up and around. Then buck, get down, put out your head and then you wake up in the dawn of the dead. I'm coming to get ya, I'm coming to get ya. Spitting out lyrics, homie, I with ya. I came to get down, I came to get down. So get out your seat and jump around, jump around, jump around, jump around. Jump up and get down. Jump, 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 everybody jump, 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 everybody jump, 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 everybody jump, 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 everybody jump, 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 yeah. This is dedicated to Joe, the fire, get colder, grab your bows out.
You're not aware, but we're aware of your despair. your tears to your oppressor. Don't show your tears. Try not to cry, little one.
This is what is important to clarify. What it really means to be a Muslim. And I and countless other Muslims have been taught from our earliest years that our religion demanded respect and caring for others. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, none of you has faith until you love for your neighbor what you love for yourself. This is what it means to be a Muslim.